Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with an observation one that cuts across the noise of modern social dynamics. We live in a world where words are often stripped of their significance, and compliments that become somewhat diluted, like empty gestures devoid of the depth they should carry. But there is something more to it, something hidden, perhaps even forbidden, when it comes to the art of giving compliments. And when done right, they have the potential to ignite the deepest parts of the human soul. And today, we're going to explore the top 3 forbidden compliments that, when used appropriately, have a profound impact on a woman, not just her mind, but her very being. Compliments are far more than simple expressions of approval. They are potent tools that can influence human behavior and emotions, affecting how we perceive ourselves and how we relate to others. Too often, we dismiss compliments as superficial or unimportant, but in reality, they carry immense psychological weight. When given with genuine intent and depth, compliments can have a lasting impact, shaping relationships in the culture, boosting self-esteem, and even altering the course of someone's life. At the heart of the concept of compliments lies the understanding that words are not just empty sounds or meaningless symbols. Words have power. They are vehicles of influence that can deeply affect both the speaker and the listener. Compliments, when carefully chosen, possess the ability to affirm someone's worth. That Araby was protector, reinforce positive behavior, and create an emotional connection between people. The simple act of recognizing and acknowledging someone's qualities can alter the trajectory of their day. Surat. Reporting someone's faults, which at a worshipful act of win, having entered their mood, and even their self-concept. Compliments, especially when they speak to a person's inner qualities, have the unique ability to penetrate beyond the superficial level and reach deeper aspects of their identity. Consider a compliment like, "You have an incredible work ethic." This isn't just praise for a job well done. It acknowledges the individual's inner strength, dedication, and commitment to excellence. Such a compliment recognizes a personal trait that is fundamental to who the person is. It has the power to bolster their sense of self-worth and motivate them to continue pushing forward in their endeavors. One of the most significant impacts of a well-delivered compliment is its ability to boost self-esteem. Human beings by nature seek validation and affirmation from others. In a world where many are often their own harshest critics or persistence of alibi formation, a compliment serves as a momentary respite from self-doubt and insecurity. It reminds a person that they are seen, appreciated, and valued. Consider the psychological concept of self-affirmation. This theory suggests that people are more likely to pursue positive goals, take risks, and navigate challenges when they are reminded of their strengths. Compliments that speak to someone's inherent qualities like kindness, intelligence, creativity, or resilience have the power to affirm their value. In doing so, they create a psychological foundation upon which the individual can build greater self-confidence and a positive self-image. However, this doesn't mean that compliments are a one-way street. They are reciprocal in nature. When you compliment someone authentically, you are not only elevating their sense of self-worth, but you are also strengthening the bond between you. People crave meaningful connection, and compliments are a way of creating this connection by offering a glimpse into the other person's character and acknowledging their importance. The power of compliments extends far beyond the individual receiving them. Compliments are contagious. They create a ripple effect that reverberates throughout a social group or environment. When someone is given a thoughtful compliment, it often has a transformative effect. "We're the Mander, wrong brawl," not just on their behavior, but on their outlook on life. It boosts their morale, encourages them to strive for more, and often inspires them to extend compliments to others in return. This is particularly important in environments such as workplaces, schools, and relationships. Compliments serve as positive reinforcement, encouraging desired behaviors and fostering a supportive atmosphere. Old ending. In the workplace, a simple compliment acknowledging someone's contributions can inspire increased productivity, engagement, and loyalty. Sai displays end. Tabi engagement. Est wife. Est. When people feel valued and recognized, they are more likely to go above and beyond in their efforts, contributing to a cycle of mutual respect and admiration. Similarly, in relationships, compliments play a crucial role in building trust, intimacy, and affection. Offering genuine praise strengthens emotional bonds and enhances mutual respect. A compliment can be an expression of admiration or affection, reminding the recipient that they are cherished and appreciated. In romantic relationships, this can create an environment where love and affection flourish, as both partners feel valued and understood. But while compliments can be incredibly powerful, there is an ethical responsibility that comes with giving them. Compliments must be authentic and sincere. A compliment that feels forced, insincere, or manipulative will have the opposite effect. It will come across as disingenuous and fail to build any meaningful connection. It's important that compliments are rooted in truth, acknowledging real qualities and achievements, rather than offering superficial praise. The key is to make sure that what you are saying is aligned with the person's actual strengths, personality, or contributions. Moreover, the power of compliments is magnified when they are offered at the right moment. Timing plays an essential role in the impact of a compliment. Compliments delivered at a time of need, when someone is struggling, facing self-doubt, only storing for the rake, or experiencing a challenge, can make a world of difference. The right words at the right time have the potential to turn someone's day around, give them the courage to move forward, or help them overcome their insecurities. In conclusion, compliments are not mere social niceties. They are powerful tools of influence that can shape lives, transform relationships, and uplift the human spirit. Equals live. The words we choose to speak have the ability to affirm, validate, and inspire those around us. When offered with sincerity, they can create an environment of mutual respect, all sincerity of wrong visual forbandseld, foster a sense of belonging, and encourage positive change. In a world where many people struggle with self-doubt and a lack of validation, a compliment that speaks to a person's unique qualities or contributions can have a lasting effect. So the next time you give someone a compliment, remember that you are wielding a power far greater than you might realize. Your words have the ability to create ripple effects that extend far beyond the moment, shaping not only the individual, but the world around them. In a world filled with noise and the constant pursuit of conformity, recognizing someone's uniqueness is one of the most powerful forms of affirmation you can offer. We all possess a desire to be seen, to be acknowledged not just for the roles we play or the expectations others have for us, but for who we are at our core. Complimenting someone by acknowledging their individuality, telling them you're not like the others, is a profound recognition of their essence. It transcends superficial praise and digs deep into what makes them special, what makes them stand apart. Every human being craves recognition, but not the kind that is given in a superficial or generic manner. We are wired to desire a sense of individuality, to want to feel like we are more than just another face in the crowd. This need is rooted deeply in our psychology and reflects a fundamental desire for self-actualization, the drive to become the best version of ourselves and to be seen as we truly are, not as society wants us to be. Unfortunately, the modern world often doesn't encourage such recognition. In an age of social media, where everyone is constantly comparing themselves to others, an icy adage of "despise this other's wisdom," it's easy to feel like you're just another person trying to stand out in a sea of faces. In many ways, people have become faceless, reduced to mere likes and shares rather than being recognized for the true. And dating can store the erode. Complex individuals they are. It's here that the compliment, "you're not like the others," becomes so significant. This compliment doesn't just recognize someone's outward appearance or accomplishments. It's a recognition of their essence, their inner qualities that make them unique in a world full of similarities, whether it's their perspective on life, their approach to challenges, or their unique way of showing up in the world. This compliment affirms that the person is more than just a cog in the wheel of society. They are special, and they stand apart for reasons that are inherently valuable. When we tell someone "you're not like the others," we're telling them that their uniqueness is worth noticing. In doing so, we shift the focus away from conventional standards of beauty, success, or popularity. We recognize them for their authenticity. Perhaps they have a perspective that challenges the norm, or maybe they express kindness in ways that others might overlook. Maybe they've cultivated a quiet strength that stands in stark contrast to the noise of the world. In many ways, this recognition of uniqueness is a compliment that transcends traditional boundaries. It speaks to a person's character rather than their external attributes. It honors their identity, their quirks, and the traits that make them unlike anyone else. And when people are seen for who they are at their core, rather than who others expect them to be, it can be deeply transformative. People often struggle with the pressure to conform. We live in a society that constantly bombards us with ideals and standards, and many feel as though they have to fit into these molds in order to be valued. When you tell someone "you're not like the others," you're giving them permission to step away from these imposed standards and embrace their true selves. You're acknowledging that their individuality has intrinsic value, regardless of how different it might seem from the norm. And when someone hears "you're not like the others," it resonates deeply on an emotional level. It's not just a compliment, it's an emotional validation. It says, "I see you, not just for what you do, but for who you are." This validation creates an emotional connection between the giver and the receiver of the compliment. It fosters a bond based on mutual respect and recognition. In human relationships, both personal and professional, this kind of emotional connection is what helps build trust. When someone feels truly seen, when they know that their uniqueness is recognized and appreciated, but where made is a literal bust in the tachonomy of the narrative plays, they are more likely to open up, to show their true selves. This can lead to a deeper and more meaningful relationship. Compliments of this nature break through the surface-level interactions that often dominate our day-to-day lives and forge a deeper connection between people. Moreover, this recognition of uniqueness often empowers individuals to embrace their own distinctiveness more fully. It encourages them to lean into their quirks, to embrace the qualities that make them feel different or out of place, and to turn these aspects into sources of strength. By recognizing someone's uniqueness, you are not only affirming their worth in the moment, but also empowering them to continue embracing that uniqueness moving forward. One of the most significant effects of complimenting someone for their uniqueness is its potential to challenge societal norms. In a world that constantly pushes for conformity, such compliments serve as a reminder that there is power in diversity. Every person brings something new to the table. Each individual's experiences, perspectives, and qualities contribute to the rich tapestry of human existence. By celebrating uniqueness, we push back against the tendency to standardize human experience. Compliments like "you're not like the others" are small acts of defiance against the homogenizing forces of society, a subtle but powerful reminder that our differences are not weaknesses, but strengths. They encourage people to stop trying to fit into predefined boxes and instead focus on carving out their own paths that are uniquely their own, ridiculously thin, and paths that contribute to the broader social landscape in meaningful ways. Ultimately, the compliment "you're not like the others" is a recognition of the individual's inherent worth and individuality. It speaks to the desire we all have to be seen for who we truly are, beyond the labels and expectations that society places upon us. This compliment empowers people to embrace their uniqueness, fosters deep emotional connections, and challenges societal norms of individuality. It's a reminder that our differences are not just acceptable, but are essential components of the human experience. In a world that often values sameness, the act of recognizing and celebrating someone's uniqueness is transformative. And when given with sincerity and authenticity, this compliment has the power to change not only the way someone sees themselves, but the way they engage with the world. So remember, the next time you acknowledge someone's uniqueness, you are offering them a gift that has the potential to alter the course of their life, encouraging them to step into their true selves and fully embrace their individuality. When we think of strength, most of us immediately picture physical prowess, the kind of strength you see in bodybuilders or elite athletes, the kind that can lift heavy weights or run long distances. While physical strength is important, it is only one dimension of a much deeper and more significant concept of strength. True strength, as we often overlook, is not solely about the physical. It is about resilience, the ability to endure hardship, to recover from adversity, Mayor the Cheese into a high suffocation in the federal, and to maintain your integrity when faced with life's inevitable challenges. This deeper form of strength is not only more powerful, but also more enduring. It is the quiet, often unseen power that allows individuals to face life's difficulties without being broken by them. And when you compliment someone by acknowledging their resilience, their capacity to endure and grow stronger despite hardship, you are speaking to a deeper truth that far exceeds the limitations of physical strength alone. Resilience is at its core the ability to bounce back from difficulties. It is the mental and emotional fortitude to face challenges and maintain a sense of hope, purpose, and determination. Resilience is what keeps people going when life becomes tough, when they lose loved ones, face career setbacks, struggle with personal failure, or endure health crises. It's the inner strength that enables them to persevere and find the courage to keep moving forward. But what is often missed is that resilience doesn't mean the absence of weakness or vulnerability. On the contrary, resilience involves acknowledging one's weaknesses and facing them head-on. It's the capacity to fall, to feel defeated, and then to rise again, stronger than before. It is the ability to keep one's dignity and sense of self intact even in the face of overwhelming difficulty. This form of strength is quiet, humble, and deeply personal. It doesn't seek attention or recognition, but manifests in actions and attitudes that reveal an unshakable sense of inner resolve. When you tell someone, "I admire your strength," and you mean their emotional and mental resilience, You are recognizing their ability to rise from challenges without losing their core sense of self. This is the strength that truly shapes people, that helps them evolve into the best versions of themselves. Physical strength is certainly important. It represents one aspect of human capability. It allows individuals to achieve specific feats, whether that's lifting a heavy weight, running a marathon, or enduring physical hardship. However, physical strength alone is not enough to carry a person through the more challenging aspects of life, threshold or perterson, which often do not involve the body at all. Life is unpredictable, and often it is the emotional and psychological battles that people face that truly test their character. One, emotional strength, the kind of strength that comes from within, is what allows people to survive and thrive in the face of emotional pain, loss, and stress. It's the strength that keeps you grounded during moments of grief, that allows you to hold it together in times of crisis, and that pushes you to stand tall in the face of adversity. This strength is not built overnight. It's forged through lived experience, personal growth, and the ability to learn from past mistakes and failures. While physical strength may be a sign of good health and vitality, emotional strength is the foundation of true resilience. It allows you to face challenges not with fear or anger, but with courage, hope, and determination. When you admire someone's inner strength, you are acknowledging their ability to meet life's trials with grace, dignity, and perseverance. When you recognize someone for their resilience, you are offering more than just a compliment. You are honoring their journey in a world that often prizes perfection, success, and outward displays of achievement. Stidiffery work of the comes of defections is, it's easy to forget that true strength often lies in the quiet moments of struggle, in the perseverance to continue when others would have given up. Logically skiv industry, and the courage to keep moving forward when hope seems distant. A compliment that speaks to resilience has the power to validate the recipient's emotional and psychological effort. Slectine quo miles peas can lepies. The sixth was a psychological effort. It recognizes that their strength is not simply a product of their success, but of their determination to face challenges head-on. This kind of recognition can be deeply empowering because it reinforces the individual's sense of self-worth and resilience. Moreover, acknowledging someone's resilience can help them feel seen in ways they may not often experience. In many cultures, emotional strength and resilience are not as overtly celebrated as physical or material achievements. But when someone takes the time to say, "I admire your strength," it serves as a reminder that resilience is valuable, that it matters, and that it is worthy of recognition. One of the most remarkable aspects of true strength is that it often arises from vulnerability. Resilience does not require one to hide their weaknesses or pretend that life isn't hard. On the contrary, true strength often emerges when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to admit when we are struggling, to ask for help, and to recognize that we don't have all the answers. By acknowledging someone's resilience, you are affirming that strength is not about never falling, but about having the courage to rise each time you do. Resilience is not about being impervious to hurt or hardship. It's about allowing yourself to feel deeply, to experience pain, and yet still find the strength to continue moving forward. When you compliment someone on their resilience, you do more than just boost their confidence. You help them to internalize the idea that their emotional strength is a source of pride. This recognition has the power to transform someone's self-perception, helping them see themselves not as weak or defeated by their struggles, but as strong and capable of overcoming future obstacles. A compliment that speaks to resilience encourages growth and self-reflection. It invites the individual to look back on their journey and recognize the strength they have gained through perseverance. It creates a space for them to be proud of the personal growth they've achieved and the emotional fortitude they've cultivated along the way. In conclusion, true strength is not about muscle or physical power. It is about resilience, the ability to endure, adapt, and thrive in the face of life's challenges. When you recognize and admire someone's resilience, you are acknowledging the depth of their character and the strength of their spirit. This compliment doesn't just affirm their ability to withstand hardship, it celebrates their journey, their growth, and their capacity to rise again, no matter the circumstances. In a world that often rewards physical appearance and external success, it is essential to remember that true strength is the quiet, steadfast ability to persevere. By offering compliments that recognize resilience, we not only empower others to continue their personal growth, but we also encourage a culture that values emotional strength as much as physical power. This recognition is transformative, helping individuals to see the true depth of their strength and the power they possess to overcome whatever life may throw their way. In a world that often values strength, independence, and emotional control, vulnerability is frequently misunderstood and underappreciated. Yet, vulnerability is an essential element of deep, authentic human connection. It's the very thing that allows us to truly connect with others on a meaningful level. Contrary to popular belief, vulnerability does not equate to weakness. Instead, it is an act of courage and openness that fosters emotional intimacy and creates space for genuine connection. When we speak of vulnerability, we are referring to the willingness to expose our emotions, our fears, our struggles, and our imperfections. It's the courage to be open about who we are without hiding behind walls or pretending to be something we're not. Vulnerability is about acknowledging that we are all flawed, imperfect beings, and in this recognition, we find strength and authenticity. The idea that vulnerability creates authentic connections might seem counterintuitive to some. After all, how can showing your weaknesses and uncertainties possibly bring you closer to others? The answer lies in the fact that when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you invite others to do the same. It is through shared vulnerability that true emotional intimacy is built. When we show our raw, unfiltered selves, we create an environment in which others feel safe to do the same. This leads to stronger, more meaningful connections. Take, for example, a compliment such as, "I can't imagine my life without you." This simple yet powerful statement acknowledges emotional dependence and highlights the importance of the person in your life. When you express this kind of vulnerability, you are not merely sharing your feelings of affection. You are revealing the depth of your emotional connection, and in doing so, you invite the other person to reflect on the significance of your relationship. In relationships, whether personal or professional, vulnerability helps break down emotional barriers. There's the expression, or another receptor, parts, vex. It allows for honest communication and the sharing of true feelings, which creates a space for deeper understanding and closeness. Without vulnerability, relationships often remain superficial, built on the surface-level exchanges of pleasantries and formalities. But when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to express our needs, our fears, our hopes, and our desires, we invite others to see us as we truly are. And it is in this raw, unguarded space that connection flourishes. One of the most important benefits of vulnerability is its ability to foster trust. Trust is the foundation of any strong relationship, and vulnerability is a key ingredient in building it. When you show vulnerability, you are telling the other person that you trust them with your true self. You are willing to be open and honest about your emotions, your challenges, and your fears without fear of judgment or rejection. This act of trust is not only empowering for the person being vulnerable, and as and of the Christ of Game Dree, but it also creates a safe environment for the other person to open up in return. Vulnerability breeds trust, and trust, in turn, strengthens relationships. Without this trust, relationships can often feel transactional or disconnected. But when you allow vulnerability to take center stage, you build an emotional bond that transcends surface-level interactions. It's important to note that vulnerability doesn't mean sharing everything with everyone, but rather it's about knowing who to trust and when to be open. Vulnerability is about being selective with who you let into your emotional world and finding the right balance between openness and protection. In Dona Authentically, vulnerability creates an emotional safety net in which both parties can feel comfortable expressing their truths without fear of judgment or ridicule. Vulnerability is not only essential for building strong, authentic connections with others, it is also critical for personal growth. The act of being vulnerable with ourselves, of acknowledging our own fears, imperfections, and insecurities is the first step toward healing and self-acceptance. Vulnerability allows us to confront our own vulnerabilities and grow through them, developing greater self-awareness and emotional maturity. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we also give ourselves permission to experience life more fully. We become more open to learning from our mistakes, accepting our flaws, and embracing the uncertainty that comes with being human. In many ways, vulnerability is the pathway to personal evolution. It challenges us to let go of the armor we've built to protect ourselves and embrace the unknown, and heavily trusting that we will be stronger for it. Compliments that acknowledge vulnerability, such as "I admire how open and honest you are," celebrate this process of personal growth. These compliments do not only highlight outward achievements, but also recognize the emotional strength it takes to confront one's own fears and insecurities. By acknowledging someone's vulnerability, you affirm that growth often comes from the most challenging and uncomfortable places, and you encourage them to continue to embrace that openness. One of the greatest challenges of vulnerability is the fear of rejection. When we expose ourselves emotionally, we open ourselves up to the possibility of being hurt or misunderstood. This fear can often prevent us from showing our true selves to others, leaving us stuck in superficial connections or feeling isolated in our emotional lives. However, it's important to remember that vulnerability is an essential part of human connection precisely because it allows us to confront our fears of rejection. By expressing vulnerability, whether through a compliment, a shared experience, or a moment of emotional honesty, we are demonstrating that we are not afraid to be seen for who we truly are. And when others respond with empathy and understanding, we realize that rejection is not the inevitable outcome we fear. Instead, vulnerability often leads to deeper understanding and connection. When you express vulnerability, you offer others an opportunity to accept you for who you are, flaws and all. And in return, you also offer them the gift of your trust, which is one of the most valuable things you can give in any relationship. Vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It takes immense courage to be open, to reveal our innermost thoughts and feelings, and to share our true selves with others. But when we embrace vulnerability, we unlock the potential for authentic connection, trust, and emotional intimacy. Vulnerability creates the foundation for deep, meaningful relationships, and it is through these relationships that we experience the fullness of life. In a world that often rewards strength and emotional control, vulnerability offers a refreshing counterbalance. It invites us to step into our true selves, free from pretense or fear of rejection. And in doing so, it allows us to build connections that are grounded in honesty, empathy, and mutual respect. So when you compliment someone by acknowledging their vulnerability or express your own emotional truth, remember that you are engaging in one of the most powerful and transformative acts of human connection. You are fostering an environment where love, trust, and understanding can flourish, allowing both you and the other person to grow and evolve in ways that would be impossible without vulnerability. In today's fast-paced world, where information is constantly being processed and the next task is always just around the corner, true listening has become a rare skill. Most of us are guilty of listening only with the intention of responding, the indicted of the heart, not truly hearing what the other person is saying. We often focus on formulating our next words instead of paying full attention to the speaker. But true, profound communication requires much more than just hearing words. It requires listening with intention, empathy, and awareness of what is not being said. The art of listening, especially the ability to pay attention to the unspoken, or perterson, is one of the most powerful tools for building meaningful relationships. It involves understanding not just the words being spoken, but the emotions, thoughts, and intentions behind those words. It's about tuning in to the nuances of tone, body language, and silence, the elements that carry as much meaning, if not more, than the words themselves. Mastering this skill can transform the way we connect with others, deepen our relationship, and even help us navigate complex, sensitive situations with grace and understanding. Listening beyond words. At its core, listening goes beyond the act of hearing. It is a conscious, active process of focusing on the other person's emotions, intentions, and experiences. Words alone can only convey so much. What truly conveys the emotional weight of a message is the tone, the pace, and even the pauses in between. Often, what is left unsaid can be just as important as what is articulated. A slight hesitation, a change in pitch, or a shift in body language can communicate a wealth of information that cannot be ignored. When we listen attentively, we give the other person the space to express themselves fully. We open the door for them to share not just facts, but feelings and experiences they might otherwise keep hidden. This is particularly important in close relationships, where trust and emotional safety play a crucial role. When someone feels that they are being truly heard, that their unspoken words and emotions are understood, they feel validated and valued. It can create a deep sense of connection and intimacy. Take, for example, a conversation with a partner or friend who is going through a tough time. They may not always articulate exactly how they feel or what they need, but through attentive listening, you can pick up on the subtle cues that suggest something is wrong. Maybe their voice quivers, or they avoid eye contact, or they speak in a way that seems more withdrawn than usual. By paying attention to these unspoken signals, you can offer support and empathy in a way that goes beyond mere words. You are not just listening to what they are saying, you are hearing their emotional state and responding to it. The power of nonverbal communication, in addition to listening for unspoken emotions, addition by E, of nonverbal communication, servely spendu. In occasion, paying attention to nonverbal cues is crucial for true understanding. Nonverbal communication, including body language, facial expressions, and gestures often communicates more than words themselves. Our body language can reveal feelings of discomfort, joy, anxiety, or frustration, even when we are not verbalizing these emotions. For instance, someone who is struggling with their emotions might cross their arms, avoid eye contact, or exhibit nervous habits like fidgeting. These physical cues can provide valuable insight into their emotional state. By recognizing these cues and acknowledging them in a compassionate way, we show that we are attuned to the other person's inner world, not just the words they are speaking. This creates a safe, validating space for them to continue expressing themselves. Nonverbal communication is especially important in emotionally charged conversations where words might fail to capture the complexity of someone's feelings. If someone is grieving, for example, they may struggle to put their emotions into words. However, by paying attention to their body language, the tone of their voice, and even the silence between their words, all as area of body and language, you can better understand their experience and offer the appropriate emotional support. This silent language often speaks volumes, and being attuned to it strengthens the bond between individuals. 1. While silence is often perceived as uncomfortable or awkward in conversation, leading many to rush to fill it with words. However, silence can be a powerful tool in communication. Sometimes what is most needed in a conversation is not an immediate response. Either relations in Ausan, but the space to process emotions and reflect. By allowing for pauses and quiet moments, you create a safe environment for the other person to gather their thoughts and express themselves more fully. Silence can also allow for emotional processing. If someone is sharing something deeply personal or painful, they may need time to compose themselves before continuing. Offering a quiet, supportive presence can convey more empathy than any words could. When we rush to fill every gap in conversation, we risk interrupting the emotional flow and preventing the other person from fully expressing themselves. Listening as a sign of respect and empathy, the act of listening, truly listening, is one of the greatest ways we show respect and empathy toward others. When we take the time to actively listen, we are signaling that we value the person and their feelings. We are making a conscious choice to focus on them and prioritize their emotional experience. This act of attentiveness is not just about gathering information, but about showing deep care and concern for the person in front of us. In relationships, whether with a partner, a friend, or a colleague, active listening fosters a sense of safety and mutual respect. It makes the other person feel heard and understood, which can go a long way in resolving conflicts, strengthening emotional bonds, and preventing misunderstandings. When someone knows they are truly being listened to, they are more likely to open up, share more vulnerably, and trust that their feelings will be validated. Compliments that recognize someone's ability to listen can go a long way in reinforcing this positive behavior. Phrases like, "I really appreciate how deeply you listen to me," acknowledge the profound impact of active listening and fostering connection. This kind of compliment not only affirms the listener's attention, but also encourages the continuation of thoughtful, empathetic communication. Conclusion. Listening is a gift. At its heart, listening is a gift. It's an act of selflessness, an invitation for the other person to be seen, heard, and understood. In a world where everyone is eager to speak and be heard, the art of listening, especially paying attention to what is unspoken, have become an increasingly rare and precious skill. Listening allows us to build bridges between hearts, foster genuine connection, and create relationships grounded in mutual respect and empathy. By practicing the art of attentive listening, we not only improve our communication, but also demonstrate that we care deeply about the experiences and emotions of others. True listening goes beyond words. It's about creating a space where the other person feels safe, understood, and valued. In this space, relationships can thrive and meaningful connections can be made. So next time you are in a conversation, remember that what is left unsaid can often speak just as loudly as what if expressed aloud. Listen not only to the words, but also to the silence, the tone, very curious, or feel. And the body language for this is where true understanding lies.